G'day, it's Jay, and welcome back to Deere Farms. I apologize for the lack of content recently. I had a rather large crisis that had to be taken care of, but everything is good now. So, a lot has happened in the past week, and we're going to take a look at it. We're going to start off with the latest set of fact sheets and go over the new equipment that was presented in them. Then we're going to look at the tree planting, and then we're going to look at patch 1.81. I'm going to break this down into separate videos to make sure they don't run too long. All right, to the fact sheets. The first set of fact sheets we have, well, I'm not quite sure what to say. This one looks quite impressive. It is the Impex, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Hannibal T50. It's a tree cutter. It'll cost you $750,000. Is 320 horsepower, so it's plenty to get up the hill, and it's tracked. That's what I really like about this. It's got a variable CVT transmission, 460 liters of diesel. Because it's tracked, it only travels at 4 miles an hour. It weighs 50.1 tons. And this is what's important to know about these new vehicles, is the tree cutting width is 120 centimeters. And that's going to be important to know, and it will show up in the store apparently when you go to buy the equipment, as you need to know what size trees they will cut. All right, moving on. The second vehicle we're going to look at today is a winch. And it's a little bit different. It's not like the Yarda winch, which pulls up the hill. This one is attached to your tractor, and it will pull logs directly behind it. We've seen a little bit of a preview of this before. It'll only cost $21,900. It requires 80 horsepower. Now, I'm going to be very careful when I say that, because I imagine that depends on the size of the tree you're trying to pull and the length of the wood you have cut. If you are trying to pull 2 large trees, you will probably definitely need a lot more than 80 horsepower. It weighs 645 kilograms, and it looks like it will pull 8.6 tons. Now, again, I am very skeptical, because if you've seen my video on does horsepower matter, yes, it does. Just because the game says something requires 80 horsepower to pull 8.6 tons really depends on the terrain. And it's worth checking that video out about horsepower, because we know that many vehicles say they require X amount of horsepower. For example, a slurry spreader, it says 300. But my 458 horsepower John Deere 8R410 has trouble keeping speed going up a medium slope with a full slurry tanker. So bear that in mind when we play the game with this piece of equipment. All right, next up, we have, well, this listed as 2 pieces of equipment. I would say they're really the same piece, well, all in one. But the first part is the bucket, and then the second part is the actual wheel loader itself. And we did see a preview of this in the stone crushing video. So the bucket itself will cost $1,500, 750 kilograms, and it will hold 1,000 liters of, well, there's a couple of new fill types I see at the bottom. I'm not quite sure what those are yet, but it will obviously carry stone, most of your crops, manure, pretty much everything a bucket carries in game. Now, 1,000 liters isn't very big, but this is a vintage piece of equipment. It's too bad they don't list the year that it was made. The Volvo BM LM 841 is, as we said, a wheel loader. It'll cost you $40,000. It's only got 98 horsepower, so I wouldn't count on it doing too much heavy lifting. It's a variable CVT transmission, so it can't be that old, but it's definitely got a classic look to it. It's got 170 liters of diesel capacity. Again, like most of the vehicles we've seen in today's video, no DEF or government juice required. So that gives us a rough idea. End of the 90s as a time frame for when this vehicle was made. It will travel at 15 miles an hour, and it weighs 9 tons, so it's a fairly hefty boy. I'm gonna wait to comment too much on this vehicle until we get it in game, and we can certainly see what it's capable of. 9 tons weight means it should be able to lift a fair amount, but it's only 98 horsepower, so let's hold off on that. All right, next up we have the John Deere 843L-2, which is a fellow buncher. It'll cost $284,500. It's 270 horsepower with a variable CVT transmission. It's 396 liters of diesel and 20 liters of DEF. Those are its fluid capacities. Now it weighs 17.1 tons. It will cut 2 trees, and we've seen this previewed in FarmCon, and we've seen this previewed a couple of times. I think this is going to be my favorite piece of equipment because it's going to cut down 2 trees at once, and it's going to be fairly easy to do it. The tree width, I don't know if this is combined or not, but is saying it's 58 centimeters. I'm guessing each tree is 58 centimeters in width. Definitely looking forward. Like I said, I'm going to try out the patch and see how the new cutting works, but this definitely is going to be a big helpful hand. And second to last, we have, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the brand name, Kotchenruther, K300R Gen 2. I know I butchered the name on it. It's a tractor. It'll cost you $310,000 or euros. It's 300 horsepower, so it's a nice size. It's got a variable CVT transmission, 250 liters of diesel is that capacity, and 20 liters of DEF. So again, this is a newer vehicle. Travels at 24 miles an hour, weighs 11.7 tons, and it looks like it's got a lifting capacity of 8 tons. Now, I'm guessing the winch and the lifter are attached because they're not listed separately, but it listed as a tractor, so I'm curious to see exactly what this one's going to be. They do look attached at the front in the photo if you look here. It doesn't look like that's a separate piece of equipment. It looks like it's all in one. Looking forward to trying that one out too. And the final fact sheet to get us caught up is the EGV65 AHK SG, which is a winch. It'll cost you $7,500. This one only requires 60 horsepower. Again, I would be very careful on that rating because horsepower matters. It's 640 kilograms, and it's got a towing capacity of 6.6 tons. I'm guessing you're probably going to need more like a 150 horsepower tractor if you're in the forest and up and down the hills. If you're on flatland, 60 will probably be fine. Now, overall, I'm pretty impressed with what we've seen so far. I'm so glad winches are back in the game. They were something that was introduced the first time logging came out, and they made a huge difference in being able to haul product to the loading site. So I'm really, really glad they're back. I'm really looking forward to the fella buncher, and depending on the improvements to the forestry machines themselves, the actual tree cutters, well, I really hope, and we'll go over this in the next video, that Giants has made it as easy as it seems. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked this video and found it informative. Remember to like and comment on what you're excited about and how excited you are about the Platinum Edition. To me, it's definitely looking better and better with each set of fact sheets we get. Again, remember to give this video a like and you will have my eternal gratitude. Thanks, Jay.